Well, guys and gals, it's time. All the parts are here. I got my transmission parts and the clutch parts from Melwood finally. Not finally, I mean I've been to the lake and all that kind of stuff. I haven't had a chance to work on this, but I've got to get this crap cleaned up so I can work on that. We're almost ready to take the engine off from the engine stand and made it up to the transmission. I've got to make some measurements, so I've got to put the bell housing and clutch and all that stuff on the flywheel on it. So yeah, it's got to come off. So because it's mounted to the bell housing bolt holes, you know, that's how you mount it to an engine stand. So that's got to come off, and let's see, we've got to figure out how to work the spacers on the transmission shaft. And so yeah, I've got to put the engine, I might as well put the motor mounts on it now while it's on the stand. I suppose I could put the valve covers on it. I don't think they'll be in the way. Got to rebuild that carburetor. Yeah, I got so much to do, and I'm just like a little kid trying to clean his super filthy room. It's like, there's so much to do, I don't know if I can do it. Alright guys, I'll be back at it. Alright, so here we go. I've got the I got the passenger side bolt, or engine mount. I got the bolts. I'm going to put some blue Loctite on these. I'm not sure what the torque specs are, but I'm thinking it's tight. What do you think? Engine bolts. Yeah. Engine mount bolts. So I am going to put some Loctite on these dudes. As I said, some blue. Just so to make me feel better. This is that weird paste kind, but that's alright. Works for me. Alright. I just don't want it to vibrate loose. I want my engine falling out. That would suck. Alright. Get the grit out of the threads. Right. Don't do as I do, do as you should. Why is that so tight? These got to be the bolts. They were in the bag with it. That one goes right in. This one must be just boogered up a little bit on the end. If it doesn't fit, force it. You know the old saying. It's a anti-slip. Now it's going right in that hole, so you figure it out. Yeah, that must have had just a little ding on it. It's going right in. Right in your way as usual. These are the original motor mounts that it's a nice long breaker bar. What do they think they call them breakers for? You can break your bolts off. There you go. Now I'm going to do the same to the other side. I don't think you probably want to watch. We'll be back when we start taking the engine off the stand. So I got the motor, the engine off the engine stand. I've got it hanging on the hoist right now, on the engine hoist. I need to put the pilot bearing in there. And you notice too, something about the flywheel here is the flywheel holes. The holes that the flywheel mounts is they are not symmetrical. Now I don't see there's any kind of keyway to this, so I'm just going to hold this up here and hopefully give it a couple of tonks. Yep, she's going right in. Just drive her in, you can see it when it gets flush and you can hear it. Hear the change? Alright. Just dropped on the backing plate and you can see that it aligns with the dowel pins. But I remember now that I actually drilled some different holes in it because this lines up with the T5 transmission bell housing a little different. But the starter and everything fits well and it fits the rest of the holes, so I don't see any issues with it. But if I told you, as I said before, these holes are not symmetrical, so the bell flywheel can only go on one way so that you preserve your balance, your harmonic balance. Alright, I got you rearranged here. I'm trying to find the pattern. I can see two holes that look closer together, but boy, it ain't much. I think it's those two right there, or these two on the bottom, and I can see them on the flywheel. Hopefully the flywheel will hang on there. Now these bolts, I believe, have to have sealant on them. So, and that is correct. Okay, I'm going to put a bolt in here so this don't drop and break a tooth. Alright. Now I'm going to look up the torque specs on these. Now these are the original bolts from the 1968 engine, but I don't see anything fundamentally wrong with that. They are strong bolts. I got to look up the torque spec. Well, I had a little change of plans here. I'm going to turn this guy around. I already had to order bolts. So, these are 15 millimeters, so these are off in a newer car for sure. I need to take the bell housing off and put that on the engine after I get the flywheel and the pressure plate and stuff put on, so I can measure the depth, so I can do my spacers on my hog bolts, aren't they? Of course they do got to hold the power of the transmission, don't they? Whoa! She's wonky. There we go. So we're just taking apart what we can until then. And this arm is going away. I don't need that. So now it clips on here somehow. I'm just going to bonk it with a hammer and hopefully it falls off. Yep. And I'm going to get that one bracket I put in there years ago out. So I got the trans off in the bell housing. Let's see if it's got any more fluid in it. I got that corner kind of chipped right down off the edge here. Oh yeah. Not a lot. I got new synthetic to go in it. Pathetic? No, synthetic. I gotta raise the back end of this up a little bit. Yeah, fluid feels nice and juicy though. Yeah, don't come off the thing yet. Okay, guys and gals, we are back. We have the appropriate tools. We have the appropriate parts. We finally have everything here that we need to assemble the flywheel and we're going to have to put the clutch pressure plate on that and the bell housing so that we can measure this for our our hydraulic throwout bearing. Somewhere here I have my kneeling pad because I'm not going to kneel on the ground, especially on that crunchy stuff. So let me get a pad. So I actually ordered brand new bolts. These are flywheel bolts. It says Chevy 7/16 20 by 1 inch, but they're exactly the same as the Ford, which I had the old ones here. Old one, new one, same length. Okay, so the thing, we need the thread sealant mostly near the tips. So I'm going to just press it in nicely to the threads. Throw on a star washer. Start him in. This, as I said, these bolts go into the crankcase, so you want to get that sealant on there. You don't want oil leaking out. You want to make it look like a main seal leak. These are Summit brand. I couldn't find the ARP ones that were 6-point. The ARP ones that they had were 12-point, and I hate 12-point. All my sockets I buy are always 6-point. So I bought the Summit brand. I'm sure they're perfectly fine. Alright, she's torqued. Now these bell housing bolts I will be using again soon, so I'm going to leave them lay here on the pallet. I got the motor up on a pallet with the weight of the engine on the blocks here. Alright, that's one job done. I'm going to clean this off with brake clean because I got to put the clutch on next. And it probably wouldn't make any difference. But we're going to do it anyway. Just a quick swish. Pretty fast. Yeah, there's some dirt on there. Well, there's a little bit of rust starting to form, but the clutch will burn that off in a second. I just don't want oils. All right. Next is our clutch. I dug the pilot bearing out. You saw me drive that in on one of the other episodes. It's just in a good old luck clutch. And what we have to do, I think I'm going to wipe him off. I don't know if you can see this in the view that you got, but I'm just going to dampen a paper towel, spray cleaner, go around the pressure plate. It was kind of black. And then your actual clutch plate has to go in between. So, did I knock the gavel away? No, I guess not. Now it'll say on here, this toward the motor and this away from the motor, I believe. But it can't fit any other way because these springs and stuff would stick out the back. So it's got to go with the springs protruding towards the front like that. And we have a clutch alignment tool so that when you go to bolt this up, it holds your clutch plate in proper position. And it's just a toss away thing. Looks like this. Put it through your clutch plate. Put it into the pilot bearing. That's going to hold us in relative position. Now here we go. I said this is just a standard luck clutch because I had a, this also has lock washers on it, but I'm going to use blue Loctite on them. No, they're not lock washers, they're just washers. All right, yes, I did find the blue Loctite. So this guy, if you look at the clutch carefully, there's 6 bolts for it. And you can see where these recesses are where the bolts go. So I need to get that guy back out. It helps if you put the right wrench on it. Okay. Put the washer on. A little blue Loctite. I use blue because, you know, in the future if I need to pull this thing out, I don't want to struggle with it too much. So now we gotta get this started in the first hole here. Nice if it was in the right hole. I'm going to turn the engine so this is on top. Hold on. Ouch. I don't think it hurts. I want to get one of those bolt holes at the top. This is how you unstick an engine too, by the way, if you got a stuck one. Use the teeth on the flywheel. Alright. Now that one's on top. And where'd my bolt go? There it is. 1/2" ratchet on that. Ouch. I think that's right. Yeah. Now what's going to happen is as you draw this in, you're going to have to compress those springs, because there's spring fingers underneath this pressure plate. Because the clutch is engaged when it's relaxed, basically. So right now it's relaxed, there's no pressure on it. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to find a bottom hole. There we go. Then we're going to get that guy drawn down to there. We're going to put one in each one of these to get the triangle basically positioned. And see, they want that shoulder on there to position the clutch plate correctly. As it goes in, it centers itself on those holes. So I'm glad to see I look like I got the right clutch. You know, you never know these days. It says Ford pressure plate. This has got to be the right one. Alright. So I'm just trying to bring this down evenly. What I've put that alignment pin in the middle is when you go to try to get the transmission in here with that clutch bolted down tight. If you don't have those splines aligned, you're not getting your transmission in here. I think that's down tight over there. It's not really super hot, but why is it humid? It's humid. Okay, I'm just gonna go give these all a snug. They're all down, making contact. Now I gotta look up the torque spec. So I just checked the specs. They said 12 to 24 foot-pounds. Well, seeing that these are ARP bolts, I'm going with the 24. Wouldn't you? Doodly-doo. I'm probably going to have to hold the thingy-do again. I got my 3/8 drive here. So good. We're tight enough. As I said before, sometimes if you don't have a tight torque wrench, sometimes tight is the specification you want. Oh, I cleaned the bell housing all out the other day, so you saw me do that maybe. So this guy has 4 big bolts. I'm using the same ones. They're big bolts. They're like 1/2 inch. Just going to see how this guy goes in here. And what size is that? Okay, he hit bottom. He might need to be a little shorter. So let me find more of these bolts. And then we'll go from there. Alright, so now I'm just going to lift that bell housing up on here, and I figured out that the 2 shorter bolts go in the top, duh, because the bell housing is thinner up there. You can see. So I'm going to clean the threads. Quickly, quickly, quickly. They're going into the old block, so I know the threads are good.
How's it going?
Good. All right. I forgot about the dowel pins that align it anyway. So that's always a big help. These big guys go down here. He didn't like it. Wants to go home. No, those aren't the right size. loosely goosely tightening these guys up. Alright, time for torque specs. So we're peering into the transmission past the bell housing. And what we need to do is make a measurement from those fingers to this flange. And somehow I've got to have a straight edge because I can't go in there.
I have those metal ones. Not that metal ruler.
I don't think there's any way I can. Somehow I've got to stick something in here that I know the width of. So I got myself a straight edge, and I know the straight edge is 1.25 inches wide. So first measurement, 4.99. I'm just going to try a couple of places here. .06. Just write them down. I'll average them. 5.03. So I think we're going to go with 5. That's pretty easy. Minus 1.25 inches makes for an easy measurement. There's 5 right on the money. So we're going with 5 inches minus 1.25 inches. So that's what, 375? Okay, we're down to 375. So we've got to bring our flange on the transmission with the bearing out to 360. That's a difference of 125, correct?
360 is different of 0.15.
Yes. Oh, 1.5? 365 then. No, because if it's 375 and you want to go an inch 125, 375 minus 125 is 360. So now we got to play the same game here. We want this to be 360. We got to go like that there. And go like that there, square it as much as we can. And bring this in. That's how we gotta do it. We're not measuring off in this. We're measuring off the bearing. Oh shoot. My bearing. So this is my bearing. And it slides right on here. Oh, just like that. Now this needs to be 3.60. I could probably just mark that on here and get close. It needs about 3/8 of an inch. I'm not sure how. I don't know if I need this thing you do or not. Boy, that's tight. Oh, there's an O-ring on it. Okay. I don't know that I need this anti-spin thing or not. It might be too. I might have. I can't find any orange. Alright, we got our measurements made. What we did, we started stacking the spacer washers on here, push it in tight. Used a straight edge across the bearing to the flat surface of the bell housing here. Or not the bell housing, the transmission. To here. The face of it where it hits the wall inside the bell housing. It's a two-man job. And pushed it in till it touched. Yep, 480. And that comes out to 365. So that's as close as we're going to get. We're within 50 thousandths.
480. 3.55.
Well, I just did this haphazardly. All right, let's try it again.
You want me to hold it?
Yes, I do. I'm going to try to go to that surface right there. So you can hold it pretty close. Hold it flat. Okay, can't twist it. Yeah, I got 823 that time, which makes it perfect. Makes it 360. So we're good. We're as good as we're going to get with the thickness of the bushings we're given here. So now we have our throwout bearing on. I've got to take one bolt out and insert the anti-rotation beast. And then we got to try to make the transmission up to that, which that weighs like 100 pounds. So that's going to be fun, wrestling that transmission over there onto the engine over there. But I'm thinking maybe I'll make a sling with the engine hoist and hoist it that way. What do you think, guys? Sound like a plan? Let me know. Now I'm going to put the anti-rotation pin in here. I had to take this bolt out here and screw this one in. And now we tighten her up good and tight. Now when I put my bearing back on, this is the anti-spin pin. Now this keeps the bleeder straight up and the bearing can't spin on the shaft. So we are ready to install the transmission on the bell housing now. That sounds like a ball of fun. I'm going to clean the face of this off a little bit here. Melwood provides these with swivel connectors, which is very cool. Like that on there very well, but it was on there before, so I guess we're all set. Good cell.
I'll tell you a little story. About a woman I know. She talks sweet, looks so fine. She makes me shiver, she's quite divine.